Armies had come to its walls. Empires had risen and collapsed around it. Crusaders had taken it. Enemies had surrounded it. But the city endured. It stood between Europe and Asia, between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean, between the ancient Roman world and the medieval Christian East. To some, it was the greatest city in Christendom. To others, it was the prize that would complete an empire. And in 1453, a young Ottoman sultan came to claim it. His name was Mehmed II. He was only in his early 20s, but he understood what Constantinople meant. If he could take the city, he would not simply win a battle. He would inherit a symbol. He would control one of the most important passages in the world. And he would turn the Ottoman Empire into a power that Europe could no longer ignore. But inside the walls, another ruler waited. Constantine XI Palaiologos, the last emperor of Byzantium, the last ruler of a world that had once called itself Roman. By 1453, the empire he ruled was almost gone. For centuries, the Byzantine Empire had been shrinking. It had lost provinces, armies, money, and influence. Its old enemies had grown stronger. Its Western allies were divided. And Constantinople, once a city of enormous wealth and population, had become a shadow of its former self. Fields and ruins stood inside the walls. The population was far smaller than it had been in the great centuries of Byzantine power. The empire was no longer a vast state. It was a city holding on to memory, but that memory mattered. Constantinople was not just another city. It had been founded as the new capital of the Roman Empire. It had guarded the eastern Mediterranean for centuries. It had preserved Greek learning, Christian tradition, imperial ceremony, and the idea that Rome still lived in the east. Its walls were legendary. The Theodosian walls had protected the city from invaders for nearly 1,000 years. They were massive, layered, and feared. Many armies had tried to break them. Most had failed. But the world had changed. By the 15th century, gunpowder was transforming warfare. Stone walls that had once seemed almost impossible to defeat could now be battered by cannon fire. And Mehmed II brought some of the largest cannons the city had ever seen. The siege began in April 1453. Ottoman forces surrounded Constantinople by land and sea. The defenders were few. The walls were strong, but the men behind them were exhausted and badly outnumbered. Every day, Ottoman cannon struck the ancient defenses. The sound of gunpowder rolled across the city. Stones cracked, towers shook, sections of wall collapsed into dust. And every night, the defenders worked to repair what had been broken. This became the rhythm of the siege. Daylight brought thunder. Night brought desperate labor. The Byzantines were not alone, but help was limited. Some Genoese and Venetian fighters joined the defense. Among them was Giovanni Giustiniani Longo, an experienced commander whose presence helped organize the resistance. But beyond the city, Europe did not unite in time. The old divisions between Eastern Orthodox Byzantium and Western Catholic Europe still mattered. Old wounds from the Fourth Crusade had never fully healed. Promises were made, prayers were offered, but Constantinople needed armies, ships, and supplies. It received too little, too late. Mem knew the city had to be pressured from every side. The Golden Horn, the great harbor of Constantinople, was protected by a massive chain stretched across the water. For a time, it kept Ottoman ships out, but Mem found another way. His forces moved ships over land, bypassing the barrier and increasing pressure on the city from the harbor side. It was a message to defenders. There would be no safe side of Constantinople. Inside the city, fear grew. People prayed in churches. Soldiers watched the damaged walls. The emperor tried to hold together a defense that was brave, but fragile. Outside the city, the Ottoman camp prepared for final assault. After weeks of siege, the walls had been weakened. The defenders were tired. The city was isolated. On May 29, 1453, the final attack began. Wave after wave of Ottoman troops struck the walls. The first attacks tested the defense. Then came stronger forces. Smoke, shouting bells, and cannon fire filled the air. The defenders fought in the breaches. They pushed back attackers. They held positions that should already have been lost, but they could not hold forever. At a critical moment, Giovanni Giustiniani was wounded and left the fighting. His departure damaged morale among the defenders. The pressure increased. Ottoman troops forced their way through the broken defenses. The city that had survived for centuries was now open. Constantinople is said to have thrown himself into the final battle. The last Byzantine emperor disappeared in the chaos of the fighting. His body was never identified with certainty. And with him, the Byzantine Empire came to an end. Constantinople had fallen. For the Ottomans, this was a triumph. Mehmed II entered the city not only as a conqueror, but as a ruler claiming imperial destiny. He made Constantinople his capital. He began rebuilding and repopulating the city. People from different backgrounds, religions, and regions were brought into the new Ottoman capital. Hagia Sophia, one of the greatest churches of the Christian world, was transformed into a mosque. The city did not disappear. It changed masters. It changed identity. It became the heart of a new empire. For Byzantium, there was no recovery. The last political remnant of the Eastern Roman world was gone. A civilization that had carried Roman law, Greek language, Christian theology, and imperial ceremony for centuries had reached its final chapter. But the fall of Constantinople did not matter only to the people inside the city. Across Europe, it became a warning. The Ottoman Empire now controlled one of the most important strategic positions between Europe and Asia. Its power in the eastern Mediterranean and the Balkans was growing. The balance of the region had changed, and trade mattered. Europe still wanted the wealth of Asia: spices, silks, luxury goods, gold, new routes, new markets. The fall of Constantinople did not create this desire. Europe had wanted Eastern trade for centuries. Portuguese sailors were already exploring the coast of Africa. Merchants were already looking for profit. Kings were already thinking beyond their borders. But 1453 added pressure. It made the old routes feel more uncertain. It reminded European powers that control over land and sea routes could decide the future. And it helped push attention toward the ocean if the road east was difficult. Perhaps there was another way, around Africa, across the Atlantic, beyond the maps Europeans thought they understood. In that sense, Constantinople was not just the end of one story. It was the beginning of another. The medieval world had been built around walls, land routes, sacred cities, and old empires. But after 1453, the world began to open in a different direction. Ships would sail farther. Kingdoms would reach across oceans. Trade would become global. Conquest would become colonial. And the search for new routes would reshape continents. The fall of Constantinople was not the single cause of the age of exploration. History is rarely that simple, but it was one of the great turning points. It ended the Byzantine Empire. It strengthened the Ottoman world. It shocked Europe. And it helped mark the passage from the medieval age into a more connected, more violent, and more global era. For 1,000 years, Constantinople had stood as the city between worlds. In 1453, it fell. And after it fell, Europe began looking beyond the horizon. Next, the story moved from walls to oceans, from the eastern Mediterranean to the Atlantic, from the end of Byzantium to the beginning of the age of exploration.